Welcome to the Moon Magic Tarot channel. This is your weekly moon forecast from Saturday the 16th of July 2022 through to Saturday the 23rd of July. We'll go straight into an overview for every day of the week, and then for those of you who are passionate about moon manifestation, we will do a little bit of a tutorial and we'll look at the incoming energy of the moon and talk you through exactly kind of what's going on with the overall astrodynamics for the week. Welcome to the lunar energy overview. Now, this week is really interesting. We kind of begin with a gentle start and we actually then return to a very gentle flow at the end of the week, Friday and Saturday too. But we do see quite a build-up of tension in the middle of the week, but also with the opportunity to really evaluate. So we may just see a little bit of a push-pull going on. Steadiness is needed. We may feel the need to push forwards or to react to something. If possible, try and just shelve something, park something before reacting, because the moon does bring the perfect energy on Wednesday, particularly to support evaluation and to review. And then the opportunity for steady, diligent, consistent progress to follow. So keep this in mind. Let's have a look at the energy day by day. On Saturday the 16th, the moon moves from Aquarius and into Pisces with a very small void of course period, about 4 hours between 04:36 and 08:18 AM GMT. Now, today the influence of our moon really supports a very big easing off of the pressure that we've had in the previous week, and it actually begins a weekend of just delightful flow. So I'm going to say recover, recuperate, meditate, chill. Above all, anything you are doing, involve self-care. This is going to lead you into a space of much greater clarity with an ability to see the bigger picture in any situation. On Sunday, the moon is in Pisces and the lunar influence again supports a very gentle and relaxing day with an added flavour, I think, of the potential for creative solutions to show up. So if you have been feeling unclear or uncertain in any area of your life, take time to meditate, take a walk in nature, and open yourself to receive the guidance you need. Sometimes the answers will come the moment we chill and stop. On Monday, the moon moves from Pisces into Aries with a void of course period between 06:42 and 11:18 AM GMT. Now we begin to see some underlying tension in the overall astrodynamics today. The energy itself is favouring transformation and it wants to forge the new. But there may also be some resistance to this. So if anything isn't actually moving forwards as you would like, providing it doesn't require your immediate attention, I would suggest stepping back and give yourself time to potentially review and evaluate before taking action, ideally slightly later on in the week. On Tuesday, the moon is in Aries and the lunar influence actually adds to the already strong overall dynamics that are going on in the background. So if your buttons are pressed, please remember they're your buttons. Take charge. And if you're in any doubt at all or you're feeling under pressure, just ground yourself and take your time. The Aries energy is going to fire things up. So, the overall flavour really does favour integrity and fairness, and it's actually inviting us to consciously seek healing solutions wherever possible and in any and all situations. So just remember, get yourself grounded, don't react, respond, and take your time. On Wednesday, the moon reaches her last quarter phase. The energy of a quarter moon, whether it's the first or the last, always invites review. So the moon will move from Aries into Taurus with a void of course period between 14:18 and 18:23 PM GMT. Now this is definitely a day for review and evaluation given the overall other dynamics that are going on. You might find that you really realise you need to stay on track or you need to stand your ground. You may also find you need to adjust or course correct. Whatever is happening in your world, journey inwards to find the answers. This is a day of inwards and upwards if that makes sense. On Thursday, the moon is in Taurus and the tension of the last few days eases. Yay. You'll probably feel that shift if you're very sensitive to the moon energy. We are now in the phase of the moon where slow and steady wins the race. So, this is added to with that lovely, steady, grounded Taurus influence. So be consistent, be grounded, be methodical, and much can be achieved in a very, very real, kind of real and concrete way. So actually making stuff happen, integrating things into real actions. On Friday, the moon moves from Taurus into a void of course space right at the end of the day at 23:44 p.m. GMT, and there is a distinctly karmic energy to the day. Now, the lunar influence is really inviting very conscious, prepared, thought through actions that support your personal growth and anything you're doing at a level of soul evolution. So view your circumstances through the eyes of integrity. And whatever you're doing in your personal circumstances, invest yourself in anything and everything that holds a higher vision and a higher perspective of the future, and one that holds a kind of that energy of higher purpose, thinking about everybody rather than just ourselves. On Saturday, the moon enters Gemini at 05:11 a.m. in the morning GMT. The sun also enters Leo today, and what a beautiful day. This is a day of very gentle and yet very vibrant lunar energy. So given the week we've had with a very intense sort of peak in the middle, celebrate, slow down, stop, celebrate where you are right here and right now, and center yourself in the high vibration of gratitude for absolutely everything that you have. Literally the air you breathe, look up at the sky, give thanks for the sunshine or indeed the rain, however it is, or the clouds. Just align yourself with gratitude, and then let that core of resonance influence all areas of your world. If you hold that high resonance of gratitude, it's going to have an impact in what will then emerge, and at a level of the law of attraction, what you are actually creating and bringing into your world. Super Souls, if you have enjoyed the lunar updates, I do post the images on Facebook and Instagram, Moon Magic Jenny Florence. So if you want a little daily nudge, you should be able to find them there. And I just wish you an amazing week. Take it easy, be steady, see what shows up in your world. Don't react, take your time, evaluate and respond, and then integrate. It's a very powerful week for manifestation. For anyone who would like to look at this in a little bit more depth, I'm now going to do the part of the video that is a kind of a tutorial where you get to actually visibly see the moon phases and the way the lunar energy is interacting with the overall energy of the incoming astrodynamics. Hey Super Souls, welcome to the tutorial part of this video. So very, very interesting dynamics this week. We actually begin the week with a couple of super lovely flowing days in terms of the lunar energy. Now, the moon is in her waning gibbous phase this week. She reaches her last quarter on Wednesday and then moves into her waning crescent phase. So her energy is diminishing. Now, what this means is, whereas if we're building up, say, to a full moon, energy is rising and we can invest and move forwards and we're fired up, we are now being invited to sort of to consolidate. It doesn't mean we're not achieving anything externally, but we are consolidating our learning, we are persevering, creating steady progress and integrating our awareness and illumination from the full moon into sort of practical clarity, whether that's internally or in our external actions. So that's the kind of flavor as we move now towards the new moon. The last quarter, both of the quarters that are always points of evaluation, and the last quarter is very much an internal space of reflection where we can see what we need to adjust, what we need to do in order to it's doing the inner work. The first quarter, I always think, is something about what do we need to make to adjust or to review outwardly in order to make progress. The last quarter is, if we think the first quarter is onwards and upwards, let's review so that we can move onwards and upwards. The last quarter is inwards and upwards. Okay, that's the kind of flavour of it. So that's the incoming flow, and the moon will move from Aquarius into Pisces, then into Aries, then into Taurus, and then into Gemini. So that's the flow of energy, and we'll now have a look at the daily dynamics. So on Saturday the 16th, the moon will move from Aquarius into Pisces, and the strongest dynamic today is absolutely gorgeous. It's between the moon and Venus. Now, the moon will have passed Saturn, calling for restructure, calling us to think about what needs to be adjusted, reorganized. Venus wants harmony. Venus loves balance. Venus rules Libra. Venus likes balance, harmony, love. Venus wants everyone to be in a kind of a chilled and a cool place with one another, no discord. And this is a flowing energy. So the moon is diminishing, things are slowing down. This is actually a great day to almost to relax, and within that space of relaxation, get a really good overview of anything that's going on in your world. If you have been struggling with anything, you may find that just relaxing brings you some clarity. You can get an overview. You can see things from all sides. It's like if you haven't been able to see the woods for the trees, it's like an eagle. You can rise above and view everything from a higher perspective. So a lovely, lovely dynamic on Saturday the 16th, a beautiful flow of lunar energy. On Sunday, the 17th, the moon will move through Pisces. Eventually, she will join Neptune in retrograde. Again, a lovely lunar dynamic today. There is a beautiful trine between the moon and the sun and Mercury. Mercury is the winged messenger of the gods, the great communicator. The sun is bringing that spark of creativity, its source energy, life energy, and this is a flowing connection. This is a really beautiful day to meditate, to tune in with, go for a walk, tune in with nature, seek higher guidance. There is such a good flow. We might even see a level of communication that helps us to find solutions. If there's anything that's been troubling you, you might, flowing from yesterday's energy, you might literally be able to find a solution to see if yesterday brought you, if Saturday the 16th, that is, brought you some relaxation and the ability to see things from all perspectives. Today might be the day when you get that spark of inspiration that shows you exactly what the next step's going to be. It's a super lovely day. Do you know, at the very least, relax and enjoy. On Monday the 18th, we do see a very different shift in energy. The moon moves from Pisces into Aries, and actually things start to heat up a little bit. Now there's a very strong underlying dynamic calling for change, transformation, rebirth, but it's not without tension. This is an opposition between Pluto in retrograde. Pluto wants transformation, rebirth, and the sun, source energy, that spark of creativity, and Mercury, the winged messenger of the gods. But this is very strong and will remain in place for a couple of days. Now the moon softens this a little bit, which is rather lovely. There's actually a trine coming in from Neptune, and the moon does add a little bit to this sort of dynamic. What is interesting though is that the moon also forms a square with Venus down here. Okay, so whereas previously we were seeing a lovely trine between the moon and Venus, wanting balance, harmony, now there's a little bit of friction here. So we may see some, in terms of the things that we're trying to birth into the world, we might see some hiccups or some things that are, some energy that feels a little bit tetchy. Maybe, something isn't, communications aren't running as smoothly as we would like. Now, I would literally say today and over the next couple of days, it will be really, really worth your while taking your time, and if something surfaces, you'll see why when we look at tomorrow's energy and Wednesdays as well. Just take your time. If something surfaces and it doesn't require your immediate attention, park it, because there's going to be space to evaluate from a sort of less emotive perspective. On Tuesday, the 19th, what we are seeing, we've still got this strong dynamic between Pluto in retrograde, calling for transformation in a very solid way, the Sun and Mercury, but there's some discord here. Now, the Moon, as she moves through Aries, her energy is trying to slow things down and asking us to integrate with awareness. Now, the Moon will pass Jupiter and Chiron today. Now, Chiron also shifts into a retrograde position. So Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is here. Chiron wants us to fix those wounds. But actually, as the Moon passes Chiron, you might find your buttons pressed a little bit, because what we also have today is a dynamic between the Moon and Lilith. Lilith is in Cancer, emotional Cancer. Now, the Moon and Lilith are an interesting mix, because Lilith tends to bring things to the surface that need to be addressed. Secrets can be brought to the surface, things we need to know, anything that is to do with injustice, inequality in our worlds. So you might find on Tuesday, particularly with the Moon passing expansive Jupiter, that stuff could be fired up a bit. So I'd follow on from the energy of yesterday, of Monday the 18th, and say, look, if something surfaces, take your time. Don't be reactive. If buttons are pressed, remember they're your buttons. Take charge consciously of what you wish to do with this. Now, any of the dynamics that are going on astrologically, they have a higher vibration and a lower vibration, and we have a choice in that. So if something presses a button and it makes us feel cross and angry, we can react in a cross and angry way, or we can actually think about it and we can act in an assertive way that is energetically powerful and also peaceful simultaneously. We have that choice. So there's really quite an interesting stuff going on Tuesday. I think it is a little bit intense potentially. On Wednesday, the Moon reaches her last quarter position. Now, this is the review day, the inwards and upwards. And we still have this strong dynamic between the Sun and Pluto. Whenever the Moon is at a quarter position, it means that the Sun and the Moon will actually be squaring each other. But it also means that their energy, the magnetic pull of both the Sun and the Moon to the Earth, are equal. So we are always asked to find a balanced perspective. Now, the Moon also happens to be in a square with Pluto, so we get this kind of strong dynamic today. So whatever's taking place in the uniqueness of your world, I feel as though this is going to swing in two directions. If something is really working for you, this is about consolidation, staying on track, standing your ground, knowing what's right and doing it. If something isn't right, then again, review, evaluation, and potentially course correct. This is a dynamic that says kind of we need to walk our talk, be what we wish to see in the world, and make sure that our thoughts, actions align with our true core values. That is the overall dynamic of Wednesday the 20th. On Thursday, we see a distinct shift in the energy. We don't have those strong dynamics occurring, and as the Moon moves through Taurus, we get a lovely flow of energy, a sextile here, which is a flowing connection with Lilith. I sort of feel if anything has been surfacing over the previous few days where there's been tetchiness, tension, buttons pressed, or old wounds kind of poked a bit. Now is the time, you know, I said a few days ago, literally, as it were, that it was worth just shelving some stuff. Notice, park it, come back to it. Now is the time that we can make slow and steady progress. We can find realistic, anchored, grounded solutions and take small steps to achieving our aims and our goals in very realistic ways. So anything that's been parked, now is the time to pick it up following the evaluation stage at the last quarter, to pick it up and actually attend to it. So whether you are attending to something that was challenging or you are continuing on your pathway of things that are actually significantly working for you, we are in the zone of slow and steady wins the race. On Friday, the moon continues to move through Taurus and she reaches the partnership of Uranus, who is the Great Awakener, and the North Node. The North Node is very much connected. The nodes themselves, we have the North and the South Node opposite each other. They are connected to destiny, our karmic pathway. So very, very interesting, because Uranus is the Great Awakener, bringing us out of the box solutions, sometimes shaking us up a bit. So there's a real karmic flavour to the day. The moon is adding her energy. She's also softening, I think, the karmic learning within our own evolutionary pathway at a level of soul. So very interesting dynamics. So today, the moon will actually square with Saturn. So this isn't always an easy, you know, square is not an easy sort of flow of energy, and Saturn wants us to restructure. Saturn is also known as Father Time, you know, the planet of karma. However, the moon then connects very beautifully with both Neptune up here and also with Lilith down here. So we've got a positive flow of energy from Lilith and from Neptune, a slightly more uneasy one with Saturn, but the moon is sitting and energizing the impact of Uranus, the Great Awakener, and the North Node. So we've got, I sort of feel like this feels for me like a day of karmic openings. Very early in the morning, the moon will also trine Pluto, the planet of rebirth, transformation. So I actually feel Friday the 22nd has great potential for us to take real solid action in terms of almost like karmic momentum, but actions that are taken with thought. They're not rushed into. You know, the moon is diminishing in her energy. So we are talking about consolidation, thought through, consciously well-planned, constructive actions. So for me, that is very much the flavour of the day on Friday. And given the flow of energy through this period, you know, this feels for me to be a sort of a really solid end to a week that had some pretty intense stuff going on, but the higher energetic of which was about bringing things to the surface so that we could attend to them. We are still in that space of slow and steady wins the race. So pretty interesting day today, and very, very constructive for us in terms of our literally our soul growth and our soul development, and taking actions in real terms that support us on that pathway. From a lunar perspective, Saturday the 23rd is actually quite a gentle day. At this point, the sun is about to move into Leo. Mercury has moved forwards into Leo. Venus is moving into Cancer and heading towards Lilith. So bringing harmony to these undertones. The moon herself moves into Gemini and is in a gentle connection with both Mercury and also Jupiter. Let's put those connections in so we can see them. So the moon is connected in a nice, favourable, sort of gentle, easy way with both Jupiter, who wants to expand things, and Mercury, who loves communication. And there's also a beautifully strong trine here between, so very flowing, between Jupiter and Mercury. So this is the sort of overall lunar flavour of the day on Saturday the 23rd. It's absolutely gorgeous, really, that there's opportunity here, I think, to expand things in a way that, you know, having good conversations, if that's a good conversation with yourself or with somebody else, good communications, balanced communications, expanding your horizons, being able to see the opportunity for new beginnings, to celebrate your achievements. There's just a lovely flavour of the day in all those areas, and it's also very gentle because the lunar energy is diminishing. So I feel there's an opportunity today to genuinely celebrate where you are right here, right now, and yeah, take advantage of this, because there's some pretty strong dynamics flowing in and out of our world at the moment from an astrological perspective. So seize the moment. Celebrate yourself and everything that's taking place in your world. Sit in that space of gratitude, because that will enhance every aspect of your manifestations. It's a beautiful day, so enjoy. Super Souls, thank you so much for joining me for the lunar update for the week of the 16th to the 23rd. If you would like to get notification of any of these updates, including any of the readings that I upload, do press subscribe and the little bell icon. That way they should come into your stream. And thank you all of you who support me by buying and purchasing the Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary and Journal. Thank you guys, you are awesome. And don't forget, I post the dailies, literally the images of the dailies, on Facebook and Instagram. So if you want a little prompt, you can tune in with me there as well. Tons of love.